The opinions expressed in this video are independent and do not necessarily represent the views of TBNewsWatch.com or Google Media. Viewer discretion is advised. The Wheelhouse with Gilles Galland.
Expectations. We all have them. I expect that when I leave here today, I'm not going to get hit by a car. I expect my wife-to-be to tell me that she plans to hang out with her ex-boyfriend, and I expect that when I pass out at my buddy's house that I won't wake up covered in garbage. But why do I always expect things to happen in fantasy hockey? I expect Alex Ovechkin to score 50 goals, and I expect Evgeny Malkin to score at least 100 points. But when it doesn't happen, why do I seem so disappointed? These feats seem pretty difficult to do, yet every NHL season we draft players based on these expectations. So this week's video is all about who in the NHL is exceeding my expectations and who's more disappointing than any recent movie involving Zack Snyder. Sucker Punch. What a waste of time that movie was. They should have just called it Sucker and had a big middle finger on the screen pointing back at me. Exceeding expectations so far this season, starting us off, is Phil Kessel, leading the league in scoring most goals scored and the only source of hope for fans across Leaf Nation. And for a guy who had testicular cancer, he's playing like he's got big enough cojones for the entire team. The only problem is during the Leafs' mini run, he was scoring when it mattered. Now he's on kind of a little bit of a slump and he only has 3 goals in his last 10 games. But don't worry, Leaf fans, he'll still carry you to that precious playoff spot and give you more confidence than anybody who wears Ed Hardy t-shirts. Kari Lehtonen, a front-runner for the Vezina, he has carried the Dallas Stars to 11 wins and has easily made everybody forget that Brad Richards was on that team. Every year in the NHL, a goaltender just comes out of the blue and leads the league in most major categories and gets a huge payday. Last year it was Pekka Rinne, Ryan Miller emerged in 2008, and Tim Thomas has won the Vezina 2 of the last 3 years. So my money's on Lehtonen to take home the top prize and to lead Dallas to home ice advantage in the playoffs. Tyler Seguin, ooh, that sting, you feel that, Leaf fans? That's the salt in the wounds of knowing that you could have had this player on your roster and you didn't have to give up 2 first-rounders to get him. Phil Kessel. He's got 20 points so far this season and looks like the best forward that Boston has. And it should be interesting to see how the season unfolds because if he keeps this pace, he'll easily finish the top 5 in scoring. So don't forget about Boston this postseason because they look extra dangerous. Not up to snuff is Ilya Kovalchuk. In hindsight, do you think New Jersey's regretting signing this guy? They signed him to a ridiculous 15-year deal, and in year 2, he already looks like a shell of his former self. I just don't get it. I don't get how a player could dominate on a crappy team like Atlanta and come to a team like New Jersey that has loads of talent and not be able to score. It's really confusing. Kovalchuk's struggles wouldn't be so magnified if he didn't play on the same team as Zach Parise. These two are supposed to be 2 of the best players in the game, yet they both disappear for long stretches. There's still time for them to turn it around, but for the Devils, if their leading scorer is Patrick Elias, they're in trouble. Eric Staal. Now Thunder Bay, I know he's their prodigal son, but you gotta call a spade a spade. He has been awful this season. I'm not sure if he's concealing an injury or if he's just struggling with new teammates, but this is the worst he's played since his rookie season. The Hurricanes captain only has 7 points in 18 games and is an ugly -18. And say he does get it together and still finishes with 65 points, that's still significantly less than his career average. That's why anybody who drafted him in fantasy leagues this year is most likely near the bottom of their league. Alex Ovechkin. This one goes back to expectations. Yes, I know he's averaging just under a point a game with Washington and they are near the top of the East, but when's the last time you truly saw him dominate a game? I hate to put him in this category because he's got too much talent to not be successful, but it makes you really wonder what's going on behind the scenes in Washington. This guy was the perennial goal scorer in the NHL. He made Capitals games worth watching, yet now all I see of him in the highlights is those stupid Mr. Big commercials. Well, I can't hate on him too much. Even the great ones sold out to Mr. Big. But that's the whole point of this video. We all have expectations of our stars. And when they don't meet them, we crap on them for not living up to their potential or for just sucking the lifeblood of our favorite teams with their bloated contracts. Scott Gomez, anybody? That's all from me this week. Thanks for checking out the Wheelhouse. Hit me up on Twitter at TBWheelhouse. Let me know which NHL players you think are playing well or playing like crap. Catch you on the flip side.
The Wheelhouse with Gilles Galland.